Welcome to part three of my week in review for Trump and Russia news. So, this part is going to be on Michael Cohen, the former personal attorney to Donald Trump. On Thursday, November 29th, the Washington Post had an article by Barrett, Zabatowski, and Helderman. Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer, pleads guilty to lying to Congress. So, as the headline states, Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to lying, and the lie was in regard to the quote unquote Trump Tower Moscow that he had been trying to negotiate with people close to Vladimir Putin. So this article means and this news means that this is no longer, in terms of Michael Cohen, this is no longer just about hush money payments to women that were potential campaign finance violations for Donald Trump. This goes directly to a possible quid pro quo, a possible illegal quid pro quo between Donald Trump and the Russian government. Michael Cohen admitted to lying for Trump, also known as Individual One in the court filings, in order to minimize the public knowledge of Russia contacts. And he explicitly said that he did so because he knew if the information regarding those Russia contacts got out into the public eye, that it would be damaging politically for Donald Trump. So ultimately, what happened was Cohen is admitting that the idea and talks for building a Trump Tower Moscow went past January of 2016. For a long time, no one knew anything about this. And then it came out a while ago that in 2015, Trump signed a letter of intent to build a Trump Tower in Moscow, and no one knew anything about it, and it was kept on the hush hush. It was eventually reported, I believe, by the New York Times or the Washington Post, and it was stated at that point that talks had been very preliminary, but that they ended in the beginning of 2016. However, the fact is, and now what Cohen is saying, is that they went deep into the summer of 2016. This is around the time that Trump was on his way to winning the Republican nomination to run for president of the United States, and around the time of the Republican National Convention in Cleveland. According to Cohen, Trump was briefed on the tower negotiations 3 separate times at least, and family as well. This could end up implicating Don Jr. This could implicate Ivanka potentially. And, sort of the lead here is that this directly contradicts a January 2017 statement from Trump and many other statements that he's made, where he says, quote, "For the record, I have zero investments in Russia." And he had, quote, he had no deals because he, quote, "stayed away from Russia." So, yeah, Michael Cohen is the ante is getting upped right now, and this certainly is no longer just about potential campaign finance violations in terms of Trump paying off women he had affairs with. Again, also Thursday, November 29th, Cormier and Leopold from BuzzFeed News break a massive story that pertains to Cohen. The Trump Organization planned to give the penthouse of a potential Trump Tower Trump Tower Moscow to Vladimir Putin himself. It was estimated to be worth $50 million. Cohen discussed this with an assistant to Putin's press secretary. So I don't know if this can get any more quid pro quo if it wanted to. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. I interfere in the election for you. I allow you to build in my backyard. You give me a penthouse. I help you become the most powerful person in the Western world. Felix Sater, former advisor to Trump at the Trump Organization, longtime criminal, but also a longtime FBI informant. He has a very interesting backstory. I suggest you Google Felix Sater and do a little bit of reading about him. He claimed the idea of giving the penthouse to Putin um, was that other Russian billionaires, otherwise known as oligarchs, they would line up and pay a premium to live in the same building as Putin. Uh, they would want to be near him so they could have their influence or sway on him, because in an oligarchy, they all work together to make each other richer at any cost. So Sater, as I said, he's a former advisor to Trump at his company, and he has also said in the past that him and Trump will be going to jail by the end of the Mueller probe. And I should also remind everybody that Felix Sater is the same guy that said, I can't remember who this email was to, it might have been to Cohen. He said, quote, our boy can become president of the United States and we can engineer it, quote unquote. In light of this news, it sounds like a quid pro quo situation where uh, favors are being exchanged. And as I said, election interference uh, for the approval to build Trump Tower Moscow, which seems to have been a long time dream of Donald Trump, uh, to break into the Russian real estate market. So thank you all for listening. This concludes my week in review for late November of 2018. We had a whirlwind of events. Please follow me on Twitter at JasonBPolitics, and I hope you guys will tune in to future videos.